Welcome to Sriram's IAS. As the budget session is in the offing, let us try to discuss what is a money bill. So, Article 110 deals with the definition of the money bill. Article 110 deals with the definition of the money bill, and a bill is deemed to be a money bill if it contains only provisions relating to the following matters. So, what are those provisions? Number one, if it deals with any tax, that is imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax. Next, it deals with or regulation of the borrowing of money of the union government. Okay, so whichever deals with the tax, imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of tax, regulation of the borrowing of money of the union government. Number 3, custody of Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India, Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India, or receipt or withdrawal of money into or payment of money into Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India. So, it dealing with the custody of the Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India or payment into or withdrawal from Consolidated or Contingency Fund of India. So, also related to appropriation of money out of the Consolidated Fund of India. With the help of the appropriation bill, we appropriate money from the Consolidated Fund of India, that is after the passage of the appropriation bill by the Parliament. Declaration of any expenditure charged on Consolidated Fund of India and the increase in amount of such expenditure. Okay. Next, payment or receipt of money on account of Consolidated Fund of India or public accounts of India, receipt of money on Consolidated Fund of India and public accounts of India, or custody or issue of such money. Okay, and also accounts, that is audit audit of the accounts of both union and state. Okay. So, what does Article 11? Article 11 of the Constitution deals with the definition of the money bill, and a bill is deemed to be a money bill if it contains only provisions relating to the following matters. That is, relating to tax. That is, abolition, imposition, abolition, remission, alteration of regulation of any tax, regulation of the borrowing of money of the union government, custody of the Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India, or payment into or withdrawal from Consolidated and Contingency Fund of India, and also appropriation of money out of the Consolidated Fund of India, expenditure, declaration of any expenditure charged on the Consolidated Fund of India and increase in such expenditure. Next, receipt of money on account of Consolidated Fund of India or public accounts of India, or custody or issue of such money, and also audit of accounts of the union and state. Finally, any other matter incidental on the above matters. Okay. So, any bill is deemed to be a money bill if it contains only provisions relating to the following matters. And finally, all the matters incidental or regarding the above matters. Okay. So this is about a bill and how it is deemed to be a money bill. Next, however, a bill is not deemed to be a money bill if it contains the following provisions. Number 1, imposition of fee or pecuniary penalties, that is monetary penalties. Okay, if a bill contains only fee or pecuniary penalties, it is not deemed to be a money bill. Next, demand or payment of fee for license or fee for services rendered. So, a bill is not deemed to be a money bill if it contains provisions only related to demand or payment of fees for licenses or fee for services rendered, and tax, imposition, abolition, regulation and alteration or remission of any tax imposed by any local authority or local body for local purposes. So, a bill is not deemed to be a money bill if it contains provisions related to the following matters only. That is, fee or imposition of fee or pecuniary penalties, demand or payment of fee for licenses or fee for services rendered, tax, imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax imposed by any local authority or related to local authority or local body for local purposes. So, having understood what constitutes a money bill and what does not constitute, that is, a bill which is not deemed to be a money bill. Now, let us further understand what is the procedure of the money bill. Okay. So, before entering into the procedure, let us understand an important thing related to money bill, that is, regarding a question on whether it is a money bill or not. Who will decide? The Speaker of a Lok Sabha decides whether a bill is a money bill or not, and his decision is final. Okay, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha decides whether a bill is a money bill or not, and his decision is final. The decision of the Speaker relating to the question of the money bill is not subject to the or cannot be inquired into any court or cannot be challenged or subject to the jurisdiction of the court, and neither of the houses or even by the president. Okay, so who will decide on the question related to the money bill? Speaker will decide, and his decision is final. Okay, and this decision of speaker related to the money bill cannot be questioned or inquired into by the court, or neither by both the houses nor even by the president. Okay, so now let us understand that the constitution has laid down a special procedure for passing or relating to passing of the money bill. What is the special procedure? So, a money bill, regarding the introduction of the money bill, can the money bill be introduced in both the houses, or is it introduced only in one of the houses? So, the constitution has laid down a special procedure. According to it, the money bill shall be introduced only in Lok Sabha. It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. And this introduction of the money bill only in Lok Sabha is, or after the prior recommendation of the president. So, only after recommendation of the president, the money bill is introduced only in the Lok Sabha, not in Rajya Sabha. And all the money bills are considered as government bills. So, these bills should be introduced only by a minister. Okay? So, money bills can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha with the prior recommendation of the president, and all these bills are considered as money bills, so they can be introduced only by the minister. Okay? Now, further, the Rajya Sabha after passing of the bill, after the Lok Sabha passes the bill, it is transferred to the Rajya Sabha for its consideration. So, what options does Rajya Sabha have? So, Rajya Sabha cannot amend or reject a money bill. Rajya Sabha does not have the power to amend or reject a money bill. Rajya Sabha can only give recommendations. And also, it cannot amend or reject a bill. It can only give recommendation, and it should return the money bill with or without recommendations within 14 days. Within 14 days to the Lok Sabha. So, this is regarding the power of the Rajya Sabha regarding the money bill. So, we can say that the power of the Rajya Sabha, or they have restriction on the powers. It is restricted. The power of the Rajya Sabha with regarding to the money bill is restricted. Okay, so it can only the Lok Sabha passes the bill and introduces it into or transfers it into Rajya Sabha for its consideration. Rajya Sabha cannot amend or reject the money bill. It can only give recommendations, and it should return the bill within 14 days with or without recommendations. Okay, so what happens? Let us see. So, Lok Sabha, it may accept all or any of the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha, or it may reject all or any of the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha. What happens if it accepts any of the recommendation? When the Lok Sabha accepts any of the recommendation, then the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses with in the modified form. Okay? If Rajya Sabha accepts any or all of the recommendations, Lok Sabha accepts any or all of the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha, the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses in the modified form. If Rajya Sabha rejects any or all of the recommendations, Lok Sabha rejects all or any of the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha, then the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses in its original form without any modifications. And if the bill is not returned by the Rajya Sabha within 14 days with or without recommendations, then the bill is deemed to have been passed by, it does not return within 14 days with or without recommendation, then also the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses. Okay? So, this is about the options after being, that is, if Rajya Sabha after the recommendations, whether Rajya Sabha gives its recommendations or not. So these are the options. So after receiving the bill or after receiving the recommendations from the Rajya Sabha, the Lok Sabha can accept all or any. If it accepts all or any, then the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses in modified form. If it rejects all or any, the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses in the original form without any modifications. If Rajya Sabha does not return the bill within 14 days with or without recommendations, then the bill is deemed to have been passed by Lok Sabha in the original form. So, what we can conclude here? We can conclude here that Lok Sabha has more powers with regarding to money bill in comparison with the Rajya Sabha. But in relation to the ordinary bill, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have equal powers. Okay? So, from the above discussion, it is very clear that Lok Sabha has more powers in relation to the money bill in comparison with the Rajya Sabha. And with regarding to the ordinary bill, both have equal powers. So, let us now try to understand after being passed by Lok Sabha and transferred to the Rajya Sabha and sent for the consideration of President, that is to receive his assent. So what options that the President have? The President can either give his assent or withhold his assent. Either give his assent or withhold his assent, but cannot return the money bill for reconsideration. So the President has three options, that is he can give his assent to the bill, or he can withhold his assent to the bill, and he does not have the option of returning the bill for reconsideration of the houses. So normally the money bill is introduced in the Lok Sabha with the prior recommendation of the President. So the President does not withhold the money bill. He gives his assent to the money bill. So this is regarding the money bill.